Very good afternoon. Online, I hope you can hear me. Audio and video, both are clear, right? Okay. We shall start today with the fundamentals of answer writing. So here, most of you have written prelims this year. Yes. You have got your scores, at least you evaluated yourself. You might be above 70, 65, 80, 90, 100. There are candidates who got 110, 120 and still struggling with the CSAT. And also there are candidates who scored fairly good in CSAT and not able to do well in your GS. Irrespective of whatever the situation is. You remember one thing, these scores are provisional and the scores can change too. Those who are there on the margins, especially on the borders, for them it's high time. Without any hesitation, you have to start your mains preparation. Why? Because the keys are meant for representation until May 31st. Until yesterday there was a representation that was given, so the UPSC will analyze and then there might be some changes that would be coming up in the key. So whatever the key that you got is only provisional. Remember, it is provisional. Let's say you're somewhere in the CSAT 65. Some changes ho sakta hai, we never know. But you should be very sure to start your preparation. Irrespective of your score, you have to start writing answer. Even if you want to give, let's say that you don't want to write this exam anymore, then that is when you stop it and you move out from this game. But if you want to write next year, irrespective of your situation in whatever the way you are, whether you are scoring 30, 40, 50, 100, 120, whatever, you have to sit back and start for your mains preparation. Yes, this funda is clear. This philosophy is clear. No matter what, many of you are Telugu speaking people here. So you'll either write APPSC Group 1, Telangana Group 1. APPSC is scheduled to be August 15th is the date of notification. Irrespective of your situation in which what you are there, again you are supposed to start writing. At least you need to learn to write, right? This is something which you have to keep things in your mind very, very clear. So the agenda of today's class is to tell you the fundamentals of answer writing. So how many of you have written a test series already? Mains test series. Anyone? So how many of you are planning to write a test series one? What is the major aim of the test series? Any test series that you write, what is the main aim? To improve. Number one is to test yourself and number two is to improve. So that improvement comes, let's say, there are different kinds of candidates when it comes to mains examination. One who has the content, who has done their foundation course and prelims cum mains foundation course they have completed, and then they have a lot of content. The content is not structurized. If you ask them, they'll write, but the question to the answer, whatever they write, they may not be in the top ranking list wala question pe nahi hota. So for that you need enrichment, right? If you're writing already test series, the main aim is whatever the mistakes that you wanted to do, you do it in the classroom and don't repeat that in the examination. That is the main aim of any test series, not to check your score, not to check where you're performing, what you're performing. It's just about your self-evaluation. Make sure to do all the mistakes in the test series so that you don't repeat that mistakes in the examination. This is the funda of any test. Same goes for your mains as well. If you want to write any test, for the first time when you are going to write a 3-hour test, many of you will experience this, that you will be only able to write 14 to 15 questions completely, and rest of the 4 or 5 questions you will not be in a position to complete it. Right? Someone of you who would have written this 3-hour test, you would have understood. But how to complete that 5 more questions? That plays a major role whether you wanted to get into the ranking list or not. Now to complete that 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th question in the very first attempt when you're writing mains, your content need to be there on the fingertips, right? Now how this fingertip content should be there? Suppose you pick up the syllabus booklet or syllabus pages, you randomly take your finger and put onto one of the syllabus line. If I say land reforms in India, if this is a syllabus line which is mentioned in your paper, are you in a position to recall 10 to 12 points, couple of examples from the current affairs and a micro diagram, a constitutional articles if there are any current affairs relevance reports that are written, any example which is there as a case study. If not, then you are not in the right position to write mains at this point of time. Thumb rule, I'm telling some of the fundamentals. Any line of the syllabus I'm talking about, if you're not able to recall some 7 to 10 points in the next 15 to 20 seconds, that means you're out of the race. Simple, right? I just say LPG reforms. You need to have a structure. Let's say cyclone, you need to have a structure. Urbanization, you need to have a structure. Health, education, employment, agriculture, infrastructure, women, Mahatma Gandhi, you need to have a structure. If you don't have a structure, then you're stuck in the examination, right? These things I've been telling many a number of times how to prepare for mains. But today, what do we do is, I'll tell you how to write different types of introductions. There are 8 different types of introductions that you will be supposed to know. Introduction which is based on fact, introduction which is based on concept, introduction which is based on current affairs, comparative introductions, like that, analytical introductions. Multiple types of introductions will be there. Now, what best introduction suit for what type of questions? If you know it, at least you will be ready with the basic introductions for somewhere around 30 to 40 odd topics. Then your content flow will be easier. See, someone this year, on an average, if you broadly look into 13,000 candidates are writing mains. Yes, will write mains, because 900 odd position service, the candidates are there who has to be selected. Into 13 you do roughly 2,000, roughly 13 odd thousand candidates, 12 to 13 candidates, 13,000 candidates will be selected. Now imagine all of them in the mains examination are going to write the same question. First, everyone is writing the same question, same time period. If suppose they are writing, the examiner is going to evaluate all of these copies. At least each examiner will evaluate somewhere around 500 to 800 answers of the same question. Why should the examiner give you half a mark or 1 mark extra as compared to your peer group? That is the first thing that should always strike while writing your answer. Else, you would study and then fail this exam, right? You should always think, these 13,000 candidates, if they are writing, why should the examiner give you half a mark extra or 1 mark extra? What is that you are doing in your paper so that you wanted to get that, right? And this half mark is the one which is going to change everything in the mains. How many of you have seen the scorecards of toppers? Every year UPSC will give the list of marks, especially it is put on the DOPT's website also. Anyone who has been to the stages of interview, their names and list will also be given, and also those candidates who are selected, their interview score, their main score, their optional score, everything will be public. How many of you have gone through that report? Akarsh only. For some, in my cabins, I have shown to many of you. So first, to give you the nature of mains examination, first you have to look at this particular sheet. Look here, rank 1. This is 2023 I have taken. Likewise, we'll see 2024 and 2025 also. Aditya Srivastava, he got rank 1 with a score of 1099. Interview marks is 200, written total is 899. Right? Clear? Always see, there is one thing in across all the years, the topper, the first topper and the second rank 1 and rank 2, there are 30 marks variation is there. The rank 1 and the rank 2, roughly 20 to 30 mark variation is always there. Not just this year, I'll show you the other year also. Now, as you go towards the rank 10, rank 14, you see 1041 is the score of rank 12, 1099. How many marks? 50 plus marks variation is there. So this huge variation is only there in the top 30, 40, right? Now let's go a little down and check. You go to rank 30 onwards, you see. Rank 30, 1017 score, 31, 1017, rank 32, 1017. Now check 1016 2 candidates, 1015 2 candidates, 1014. If you go on, you will understand that as soon as you cross 50th rank, just 50th rank, at least on 1 mark, there are 3 to 5 candidates who would be staying. I'll take you down to somewhere around 200. This is a common example I'll give you because this is a student who sat in our very own classes, learned many things, unlearned many things. So look at this 203 rank. What is her score? 976. How many candidates have 976? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Plus 1, 12, Roma. Sorry, this is Taruna. So 12 candidates are having 976 marks at a rank of 203. Right? Now imagine this candidate gets just 4 more marks extra. What is her score? So at a score of 976, the rank is 203. I am saying that add plus 4 marks. This is 980 marks. Now what is her score? Her score would have been 980. Now at 980, what is the rank? 164. At 990, 164 rank. Right? So just go and check here. So how many rankers are there in this just 4 marks variation? How many? Right? As you go little downward, for an open category candidate who is crossing 50 ranks se lekar baki, you will have a margin of hardly 25 marks. Okay? Just 25 to 30 marks margin. That means you just understand this. At 203, 976, 980, 164 rank. Within 4 ranks, there are roughly around 39 to 40 candidates. That means each mark, there are around 10 candidates, roughly they are there. Now it's a very tight fight that will be there in the mains examination. Why? Because it is the same examiner who is evaluating all your papers. Okay? Examiner, as soon as he looks or she looks into your paper, first thing they look out for is your presentation. Your handwriting should be legible. Your presentation should be neat. Your paper need to be properly sanitized, at least in the looks wise, points wise, baat ki baat hai. You need to have micro diagrams, you need to have substantiations, you need to use data wherever required, flowcharts if required, right? So you have to put your paper in a very presentable manner so that the examiner has to give you comparatively more marks. I'm not talking about half a mark, 1 mark, comparatively more marks, right? So land reforms, you have also studied, she is also studying, everyone has studied land reforms, but who is going to put that onto the paper? That matters a lot. So there are 3 kind of candidates here. 1 who do not have the content, 2 who has the content but do not know how to write, 3 content bhi hai, likhna bhi aata hai, but they wants to enrich their content, enrich their score, right? So all those rankers who have written last year, they are going to come for the enrichment, right? So most of these rankers, you may not see them in the classrooms, but many of them you will find in my cabins because they know the content. They are ready with the content. Just that they wanted to score half mark extra in each of that. Uske liye kya karna hai, sir, bata do. Right? Now, content they have read. Content, without content upgradation, value addition will not be done. Value addition, if it is there, diagrams and pie charts, you can give a better diagrams and better pie charts in the exam. But that alone will not get the marks. Always remember, knowledge is the king, content is the king, quality content is the king. Right? That quality content need to be there for some of the major topics which are there in your UPSC examination. Now, what are those major topics? Have you ever seen through the last 10 years question papers of the UPSC mains? Did you ever sat and charted out what are the topics that are asked? Now, you might have been given a PDF in which you will have the list of all the topics. Okay? List of all the topics. What are those topics which are asked on a frequent time period? Mahatma Gandhi is asked from 2015, 2016, 18, 21, 23, 24. Likewise, Diversity and challenges, tribals in India. Is there an year where this topic is not asked? Every year it is asked. Likewise, women, every year. Urbanization, every year. Like that, there are some hot topics which you cannot avoid. Urbanization, every year. I hope you all got the PDF of this, right? Now, this is the template mark for your mains. First priority is to complete these topics. Okay, I'm not telling that you should not read other topics. I'm telling that first priority is these topics, right? Especially those which had multiple repetitions. Look at this. Oceanography, currents and ocean salinity, every year. Now, GS paper 2, you see, in this fundamental rights, directly or indirectly, almost every year, and parliament and state legislature, every year in the mains. Not one, multiple times the question will be asked, right? Now, you go and check this federal structure, plus one more, education you see, health you see, right? Let's take agriculture as a topic. Let's imagine agriculture as one topic. Agriculture, every year it will be asked for 50 marks in GS paper 1, GS paper 2, GS paper 3, right? Now, broadly, when you look into, roughly UPSC is repeating these themes. I am talking about themes, not about the subtopics. Around 40 to 50 themes are there. Within that, the question is asked multiple number of times from different dimensions. Content is same. Sometimes they ask you to examine, sometimes they ask you to critically analyze based on the current affairs. And mark my words, this year, without fertilizers, there won't be mains question paper. 100% you'll have mains question on fertilizers. 100% you'll have question on energy security. Why? Because current affairs is there. Likewise, GS1, GS2 and GS3, all the topic listings are done, given here. So this will be your first reference point for your mains preparation, how to start, right? And the margins are only few marks. So you also need to prepare very tightly, extremely tight when you're writing mains, right? The funda is first knowledge. This knowledge is nothing but your content, and this content need to be enriched. Enriched content you need to learn to put on the paper. Now, how to put this on the paper? There are multiple candidates who put this content on the paper in different forms. Many a times I give this example so that you will get to know the gravity of this. Look here. I always give this example to you. Many of you know this, but be patient for some time to know. So this is candidate 1. This is candidate 2. This is candidate 3. So candidate 1 very पढ़ा लिखा बच्चा है, बहुत ही मेहनत किया पूरा साल, and this candidate has written one of the finest points. The content is extraordinary. This is how they have represented. Now this is candidate 2. Candidate 2 is little smarter, who has gone through the previous year questions, and the way they present is bit different as compared to the other candidates. They have learned to draw the India map or any other pie chart representations, and this is how they write. Right? Now this is a candidate 3. Candidate 3 is little more smarter. I won't say intelligent, but they are smarter. Smarter candidates use the same available space in a different format. Let's say they label the content and present things in a better manner. It's just that the use of space is utilized in a very effective manner. That is effective utilization of the available resources that they do with limited reading and also limited knowledge. It doesn't mean that they have great knowledge. They also have limited knowledge, but that limited knowledge is always presented in a better manner. Look here. This is a kind of formats I'll show you even now. Right? So these are the 3 kind of candidates you will get to see in the mains examination. The first candidate on an average, if you see, for 10 marks, if you are giving 3 marks to this guy, how many will you give? 4. Chalo, let's give 4. How many will you give to him? 5 to Deva. You can't give more than 5 or 6 because the topper of GS will not get more than 460 or 465. As on date, the highest number of marks in GS 1, 2, 3, 4, Sara Milake, somewhere around 460. You know about Medha Anand, the rank 12 or rank 12 before last year. She is one of the highest scorers in the GS1, in the entire GS. And when you look into GS3, it is Roma Barna. So it is, I feel more fortunate that these two candidates have studied with us at one or the other point of their ranking time period. So I know the thick and thin of their writings. Likewise, there is another candidate. I always give this example. That is rank 249 and got her 6th attempt, she made it to the list. First 5 attempts, she never cleared prelims. Akriti. Okay? So Akriti Sethi, 5 attempts, she did not clear prelims. In the 6th attempt, she finally made it to the list. Why? Because she has been consistently writing mains irrespective of her prelims. It's not that she doesn't have knowledge. She has a lot of knowledge, but she's not in a position to clear prelims because of various reasons that I'll discuss separately. But she was always consistent in writing a test series, always consistent in writing something which is relevant to the mains. Now come back and look at this. Why the margin is very, very tight, you'll get to know. So your GS has paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and paper 4. You're supposed to write 20 questions here, 20 here, 20, and roughly around 19 odd questions. So, but for our ease of understanding, let's mark this as 20 questions. So if you are giving the candidate 1, this candidate 1 is getting 3 marks. So 3 into 20, how much? 60. Here he or she might get 60. Here case studies and all, average le lete, let's say 60 marks. Right? Now the candidate 2 will get, this kind of writing will get how many marks? Yes, how much? 80. 80 marks, 80, and 80. And the last candidate, 100. What's the total score? This candidate, this, right? So look at the difference. The candidate 1 has 240, 320. Is there a variation of 80 marks between each candidate? Yes. Now tell me, will this candidate get into the ranking list? No. Why no? Look at the margin, 400 marks and 240 marks. Outrightly, this candidate is not going to get into the list. Why? Because presentation is not up to the mark. Content which is there, content is not fully presented. But don't you think this candidate has done a hard work? In spite of doing hard work, this candidate will not clear the exam. Right? What about this candidate? Second candidate who's getting 4 marks in each paper. Here, 320. Will he clear the exam? No. What about the third candidate? The third candidate who you're getting to see here, this candidate may clear. I'm not telling he or she will clear. This candidate may clear. Okay? May, matlab what? I gave 400 marks in each 100, but in reality, toppers are scoring somewhere around 420 to 430 in the GS. GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4. Only the topper of the toppers who are there in that, I told you there is a 30 mark gap, 40 mark gap from rank 1 to rank 50 if you look into. These are those candidates who are scoring extremely high. Now, what is that they are doing additionally so that they are getting these additional marks? You just go through the papers. These are available in the public domains, rank 1 to 5, 7. Their papers are always there. You will see something very common. I'll show you. First, handwriting is legible. Second, the paper is neat. No strikings, no irregular diagrams. If cancellations are done, proper cancellations, right? Factually correct data, not incorrect, not irrelevant facts which are put to the point. Okay, hitting the bullseye at a go. This is how. So this is the only exam where you seriously study and this candidate will not make it to the list. This candidate will not make it to the list, and this candidate may make it to the list. Right? So how many of you think that you are somewhere here? First question. Answer to yourself, don't answer me. To your self honesty, answer to this. How many of you think you are standing somewhere here? Second question. Do you believe that you stand somewhere here? Most of you. Here, 320, 330, 340. See, 320, 330. Who will get you now? Anyone who cleared prelims, आंख बंद करके मेंस में चले जाओ, आप पेपर कंप्लीट करके आओ, you'll get this score. ठीक है? Someone who do over actions, studying extraordinarily, they want perfection while they are reading the subject. They write in the first 1 hour, 3 hours are there, right? In the 3 hours, in the first 1 hour, you will be hardly able to write 4 or 5 questions because of perfection you wanted to put in, and you wanted to beat that 15 questions, and then lastly you'll miss some marks. You'll not even attempt. These are those candidates who are falling into 260, 280, 300, 310. 320 onwards, they know the content, but first time they are writing mains, they doesn't know how to put this onto the paper. Now this is the story of GS. So toppers are getting this score, not 400, 420 tak ja raha hai aaram se. Ethics and all, they are scoring 120. GS3 is the place where they are not getting score. Roughly around, if you get 90 plus, that is considered to be a good score. GS1, yes, 100 par ho raha hai. GS2 also, sometimes they are crossing 110, 120 also. So it all depends on the year, right? GS1, until last year, there is not much score, not even 100. 100 is considered to be a great score. But when it comes to essay, and so essay also, candidates are scoring 120, 130 also easily. Can be done. I'll tell you what are the strategies and so. Now to get beyond this, if you want to be in this category, first thing, what you are supposed to know is in and out of the mains pattern. In this, content enrichment need to be done, or content enhancement need to be done. Let's say you know everything about agriculture, but you need to now have data on the fingertips. Suppose you have learned a topic called agriculture, and on agriculture, if I ask you what are the structural changes in the last decade of Indian agriculture, can anyone tell me? What are the structural changes that happened in the Indian agriculture in the last decade? The structural changes that happened in the Indian agriculture, if you ask me, because I've been teaching this multiple number of times, that is there on my fingertips. Basically, in the content means, you know that, sir, the crops have come down, livestocks have increased, right? Likewise, if you look into the fisheries, more or less they are stagnant, and also the horticulture, it is also stagnant, not much movement. That is called as structural change. It is all about the changing patterns. Climate is changing. If climate is changing, don't you think that the wheat cultivation areas are going to go and they will be converted into rice cultivation areas, right? But what is the, now that is the content. Content enrichment means you will know how much percentage of the land is going to go. You will now draw a map and show that areas near to the Rajasthan, they are going to get converted into rice cultivated areas, Uttar Pradesh areas. You'll go in little more detail and give examples. That is the fundamental difference. You'll go little more detail. Let's say if I ask you about the structural change in the agriculture, the structural changes, I might draw a graph. Let's say that percentage from 54% to 50%, this is the crops, they have come down. But when it comes to livestocks, they have increased 24 to 28. So that means agricultural crop product, the total crops in India are decreasing, livestock is increasing. Next question will be why? Why? What is that has brought the changes in agriculture so that total crop, see, agriculture means crops will be there in agriculture. You'll also have fisheries, horticulture, forestry, lumbering, like that. These are all of this comes under the agriculture, We generally think about crops and cropping pattern. That is clearly mentioned in your syllabus. But if you want to do this enrichment, what you're supposed to do is you need to know what are the other aspects which are there, what are the inputs. Let's say fertilizer is there. What is the ratio in which the fertilizer has to be put onto the crops? And what ratio in India is this fertilizer put as on date? Plus link it with cancers, link it with the climate change, link it with the Iran, Hormuz, and NAFTA based industries. So when you bring in the dimensions to these answers, that is when you will have a beautiful answer putting onto your paper, right? So I hope you have read a decent content for prelims, at least for history, geography, economy, polity. What more content do you think you are supposed to read so that you have to write this content in the mains? Kuch nahi hai. You have learned everything for prelims. It's just that you need to recall. For example, I hope everyone studied history for prelims. Can you compare Lord Curzon with Nehru? Can you compare the Gopalakrishna Gokhale with that of Gandhi? Commonalities? Can you recall 5 points? Or else, if I give a statement that both Gandhi and Tilak fought for the freedom, the means and ways were different. However, their agendas were the same. What will you write? You have read the content, right? Are you in a position to recall some 10 points? Now close your eyes and try to recall 5 to 7 points for this question. I said Gandhi and Tilak, both of them fought for the freedom struggle. The means and ways in which they choose were different, but their agendas were the same. Elucidate. Now here you need to recall facts. Can anyone tell me 5 to 7 facts? Gandhi is arrested for Sedition Act. Tilak was also arrested. He was the first guy to be arrested, in fact, in the Indian history of freedom fighters. Sedition, 1890s, later 90s, he got arrested. Tilak was for violence. Gandhi was for violence. No, he always spoke for non-violence, but the end result was always violence. Chauri Chaura incident, quit India. He said, Karo ya maro. He says, do or die. He's asking you to die. Isn't that a violence? Tilak outrightly said, Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. He chose the path of violence, but later he also turned into theosophical societies, right? He started to preach about, go back and learn the great about India, right? So Gandhi also preached through Swaraj, Gram Sabhas. So this is what you are in a position to recall. It's about analysis now. For history, geography, economy, polity, trust me, you have the content, right? Even if you have completed your basics, you have the content. It's just that you need to learn to present it on the paper. Now, how do you learn this presentation? Let me show it to you. First, there is a set pattern that you are supposed to believe. I'll show you this for a topic called agriculture, and we shall give you all of this. Just a minute. For a topic called agriculture, I'll show you how to do it, and going further, we'll learn about all of this in detailed manner, right? Suppose in a rough overview, I'll tell you how to prepare for any topic that is there. Imagine this is agriculture. In the agriculture, you first need to know what are the previous year questions. All the previous year questions of agriculture topic. Now, what is the weightage of agriculture? Roughly around 50 plus marks, right? So in the coming programs, what we are going to do, I'm going to tell you here now. Let's say agriculture is there. If you picked up agriculture as the theme, first thing that you need to know is what are the previous year questions. So in 2024, questions were asked on irrigation. Questions were 21, 20, 19 and 16. That means only on irrigation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions in the last 10 years. That means every alternate year there is a question on irrigation. Next, major crops and cropping pattern in India. This is an exclusive line written in your main syllabus. Again, go through the previous year questions. Before you go, first thing what you need to know is the flow chart of agriculture. How does agriculture works? See, for all of the themes, we'll give you some kind of mechanism where you can remember and break them so that you will be in a position to understand. Let's say for agriculture, I always give this example that if you wanted to grow crops on a farm field, what are the basic requirements? Imagine a farmer wants to grow crops here. What are the basic requirements that this farmer needs? We call this as inputs, right? And on the farm field, there is climate that is always influencing factor, right? So what are these inputs? These inputs are, yes, you can recall, seeds, fertilizers, irrigation is there. Next, electricity, that is nothing but your farm electricity. Labor is required. See, basically to start anything you need four things: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, right? But farmer is not an entrepreneur, he is an agripreneur. Keyword I am giving you here. Farmer is an agripreneur, right? We have to use the word agripreneur for the farmer, right? Instead of entrepreneurs are the ones who takes risk in the business, but agriculture in India should be agripreneurized. Seeds, fertilizers, capital is nothing but credit. This credit comes through official means and non-official means. Official means are nothing but institutional means, like it comes through banking sectors, loans. Unofficial means are peer-to-peer lendings, right? Other aspects are irrigation and land. Now, first thing what you are supposed to know is the facts associated with this. Now, can anyone tell me how much percentage is small and marginal farmers and how much percentage of the land is? More than 85%, he said, because he doesn't remember the exact number. Someone said 89, no, 87 is the right. So factually incorrect, nahi likhna hai. This is a smart way of writing. More than 85% of the land holdings are there in small and marginal farmers. So this small and marginal farmer will never take a risk. A farmer will never take a risk, especially small and marginal farmers, to grow cash crops, right? Land reforms is there. Is also associated with land topic. Irrigation, micro irrigation, water use efficiency is a topic associated with that. Now, first thing, this is one fact. Plus, what is the total cultivable area in India? What is the total arable land in India? What is the total cultivable land in India? What are the different types of lands that are there in India? Can anyone remember the data? So this is the fundamental difference between the one who is getting the top score and you'll write randomly. Okay? Land use pattern you need to know. I'll show you that, don't worry. In the handout itself, I'll give you land use pattern you need to know. Next, these are all the inputs. Irrigation. So you have micro irrigation, you have macro irrigation, large dams are there, small dams are there. So how many small dams are there? Especially you need to know, if this topic is in current affairs, you need to know that. Likewise, seeds, fertilizers, what is the ratio of fertilizer that is used to be ideally to be used in India? 4:2:1, right? But what is the usage that we currently have? More than 8. Now, the latest data has come only 3 days before. We have updated that. 10.9. Okay. 4:2:1 ratio, it is 10.9 change they are using it. So in India, this year, fertilizers are in current affairs. Why they are in current affairs? Because NAFTA shortage is there. NAFTA comes from the Ukraine, China. We import, say, fertilizers always are prepared from hydrocarbons. Okay. LNG also. We import it from outside, those basic materials that are required to make fertilizers, right? LNG shortage is there. Basically, oil byproduct here, right? So that issue is there. Seeds are there. Credit is there. Now, likewise, next, these are inputs. You know the inputs. What are the factors that are influencing this land, the time from the start of the growth of the crop to the end of the crop? Climate. Can you control that? Can you control all of these factors? Can you control all these factors? To some extent, you can control. You can control seeds, fertilizers, right? Credit also you can control. Irrigation, land, everything, and you can control to some extent. But can you control a climate? No, right? So this is a invariable factor which you cannot put in control. That's why agripreneurs are struggling between controllable and uncontrollable factors. An introduction, contrast introduction. When you know the topic, you can bring in that dimension. So don't worry, at the end of the class, what do I do is I'll pick up a particular question and I'll show you how to write 8 different types of introductions for each. Like that, we'll do conclusions also, we'll do bodies also, I'll do diagrams also, I'll do micro diagrams also, everything, right? So this should be the template that you're going to pick up, right? Now, second thing, when it comes to production, you need farm mechanization, right? Technologies are required. When it comes to procurement, MSP is there, right? Buffer stock, next food security, PDS, FSA, all this comes into picture. And the last category is post-production. You need cold storages, right? You need agricultural marketing, you need. Likewise, agri-logistics are required. So all of these are the structure of agriculture. Once you know the structure, then go and check irrigation pe kaun sa question hai. If irrigation is there, is it an input or the procurement side? Input side, right? Next, cropping pattern in India. This is growing time period, right? Processing time period. Next, sustainable agriculture and diversification of farm. This is post procurement and so. Farm subsidies and MSP later. Okay. Next, procurement side, land reforms. So once you need to go through the previous year questions under various sections, this will give it to you. Next, going further, you now has to understand these are the themes that were already asked, and the potential of these topics in this particular is very high this year and the next year. Look at this, agri exports is quite a bit news, current affairs. Fertilizers sector in India was there in current affairs. Next is El Nino impact on Indian agriculture. This is an El Nino year, right? Atmanirbharta in energy and Atmanirbharta in food. We are Atmanirbharta in food, right? But energy, no. That energy, if we don't have Atmanirbharta in energy, our food security will get impacted. How? Logistics is a very small minor factor. Okay? Of all the 10 factors, logistics are a small factor. No, it is fertilizers, seeds. Because shortage of fertilizers, seeds. Okay? Later comes electricity, then comes logistics. Logistics we can handle, we can come up with hydro. India has a lot of potential for hydro. We are not fully utilizing it. A lot of potential for solar. So that can be managed. But this other forms of fertilizers and so, to go back to the ancient times of agriculture, it is not easy, natural farming. Likewise, these are the major areas where the question will be asked, especially the market intervention schemes. Now, like this, you have to go and break this, then come the fact sheet. Fact sheet, what is the status of agriculture in India? See, you look back into 10 years, the agriculture structure has changed. In India, the agriculture means, I already told you, it includes crops also, livestock. Of the total agriculture, 54% of the total contribution in agriculture comes from crops. Livestock, 30%. Forestry and logging, 7.1. Fisheries, again, 7.5. You need to remember these facts always in your mind. Now, what are the changes that happened in the last decade is nothing but. So this is an innovative diagram that we bring in for you to draw directly in the exam. So on one side, you have the share of agriculture as a percentage from 58% in 2013-14 to 54% in 2023. Why there is a drop in the crop production in India? Number one. Okay? Number two. Livestocks were 24%. From here, it got increased to why? Why this structural change? This could be the mains question. If we start? Okay. His says that, sir, people started eating more protein. Okay. Do you have a data? Substantiation? Is there any report that said that? Then don't write those points. Right? Next. What else? Any reference for your data? Example?
Rural to rural migration happening.
Rural to rural migration, how is it related to this cropping? Okay, agreed. See, basically, the report says that the total number of villages have come down. Why? Urbanization. See, you first need to know the definition of a village. What is a village? How do you declare a village? Rural area. Population of less than? Village less than 5,000 or 400 persons per square kilometer or 70% of the total male who is present in that village or more should be involved in agriculture and allied activities. What are agriculture and allied activities? They are nothing but these only: livestock, fishing, forestry and crops. If 70% of the total male workforce which are there in a village, if they are involved in agricultural or allied activities, that is called as a rural area or village, right? That means if a migration report is saying that, if a report is saying that, array, villages have come down in India, what does that mean? It means that some change, some kind of structural change happened. So this is how you are supposed to. But how do you put all of this big content in a very small area? That's a challenging task. That challenge will make it easy for you. You outsource that content, that part to me. I'll make sure that is done for you, right? Content part, you outsource it to me. I'll give you the content, not just for this. Imagine like this, I gave you a big list of topics for you. Next, what are the growth trends? For each of this, if you are aware of, the agriculture, the content, land use pattern, I already told you. In India, the land use pattern, you see, the net sown area is 140 million hectares. The net sown area. Okay, as on date, 140 million hectares is the total net sown area. Forest area, 24%, right? They changed the definition of the forest, so forest ka hum 21 se seedha 24 pe pahunch gaya, right? Barren and uncultivable land, it is 5%. Lastly, other types of land. Now you learn to draw these diagrams in the exam in a very matter of less than 10-15 seconds. You need to draw it multiple number of times. You need to learn this. So trust me, question will not go out of this particular handout in mains. ठीक है? Prelims is a very vast area, but mains में उनको पूछना ही पूछना है agriculture पे, ठीक है? So there is no scope to go out of this. Now area under cultivation, how much? If you know the details, let's say I won't ask you to remember each and everything that is there in this handout. I would ask you to remember 50% of whatever is there. You will go and replicate 10 to 15% in the exam. That will do the job for me to be in that 440, 450 list. I'm only talking about agriculture now. Think of health, education, employment, physical infrastructure, disaster management, climate change. You go to the land reforms and other topics which are there in the paper 3 and paper 2. Will you not make an impact on the examiner? Definitely you will make. Okay. See, in the first 10 days, I may not create that impact on you. Trust me, down the line, 1 month, you will change. You will see that change in yourself, the way you answer and the way you present yourself, right? Likewise, now all this is the content. The next agenda that we are going to have in the classroom is the practice sheets. So this is a practice sheet. You will be given a handout which is plain, khali, empty. This practice sheet is meant for drawing. Let's say, what is this? Share in the gross value addition of agriculture. We have already studied crops is there, livestock is there, fisheries is there. Now we are supposed to learn to draw it. Same diagram. This is for practice sheet. Let's say that you are practicing 5 times, 6 times. Out of this, you are bringing in the food grain production. This got increased. See, now imagine you doing this for your state exam. Let's say you're from Andhra, you're from Telangana, you're from Punjab, you're from UP. Agriculture of India you have studied. Just sidelines, you sometimes Google and check what is the gross GSA of your state. In agriculture, crops are more, livestock are less. In Telangana, livestock is more, crops is less. Right? Structural changes you see. Now your answers in your state PCS examinations is going to go. You will create the difference of marking between the first candidate or top 10 candidates to the rest of them. no matter what, your preparation level should be at this point, this par only. So if you're preparing for UPSC of this status, and then you just need to add your state component to that, and those of you are there in APPSC or Group 1 or TGPSC Group 1, they'll also get similar kind of handouts in that part also, right? So tomorrow, June 2nd, our formation day of Telangana, hopefully if you get a notification, you will do wonders, I am telling you. If not, even if it is delayed, it's a good time for you to spend 3 months on this, next 3 months. And then as soon as the notification comes, no one can come at least near to you. I'm talking about no one can come at least near to you in the examination, right? So this is a practice sheet which we shall be practicing. Now the next major pain point for the student is that these pain points are none other than the content itself. Sir, all this content, whatever is there, is in the tabular format and it is in the diagrammatic format. Will I be able to do it or not? So here, what you are supposed to do is, we will give you the content. It's not that I'm going to give you all of this and ask you to do it yourself. No. Each of the theme will be explained. The content will be explained. I know most of you would not like to sit in the classes. It's up to you whether you want to sit in the class, you don't want to sit in the class. It's up to you, right? Enrichment can be done if content is given, most of them. Yesterday, 2 days back, there is a DSP who has come to the office, said that, sir, I've written 5 mains. I'm only left with 1 more attempt. And I don't want to read the content, but if you can give me this content, I would be very much happy to replicate, right? So for me to test her, it took me 1.5 hours. I gave her a task and I said that I'll give you 4 pages of the content. I'll give you 1 hour time period and I'll give 2 questions. If you're able to replicate, you don't need class, right? There's no hard and fast rule that you have to come and sit in the class. Why? Because every individual is different with their capabilities, right? But everyone is capable of doing something extraordinary. So if your knowledge, that girl has a knowledge of writing 5 mains, all she needs is, so I want this enriched way of presenting. You just evaluate my answers. Yes, we are there to evaluate, because we are truly believing few candidates that they will get into this list. For that, we also go that extra mile to spend a little more time and give that. So each of this, today, these are the diagrams which we have drawn. You may come up with a better diagram, right? In this classroom, how many are there? Let's say 40, 50 is there. If this goes out to the market, another 200, 300 candidates in Ashok Nagar would learn to do this. So if this goes out to India, then this year main score, again, next year, whoever is going to write, they will face little difficulty because the competition level is increased. So since last 4 years, the competition level is increasing year by year. So this year too, I believe that the competition level is increasing, right? Way back in Delhi, 2018, we started all of this. So a lot many clones came up in Delhi, here, there, that improvement program, this improvement program, right? Later, many started. But let me tell you, this is a fundamental aspect which will always work for you. Now, come back. The next part is content. See, content is, if suppose the major themes are there, topics which are there. Just a minute, let me show you. Before that, keywords in each topic you need to know. What are the keywords that you are going to put in the conclusion of agriculture? You need to know. Take a minute to read this. Please read. These are the words which are to be put in the conclusion. From agriculturists to agripreneurs. From subsistence farmers to milletpreneurs. From production at any cost to farmer income-centric approach. From isolation to organized power, in reference to the FPOs, farmer producer organizations. Green revolution, second green revolution, and today we are going for evergreen revolution. What is this evergreen revolution? Monocropping. Monocropping. What is monocropping? A single crop across rice. You made it evergreen, right? First was green revolution, then second green revolution. Now it is evergreen. It is fully, this is not my word, I have taken it from by researching somewhere around last 1.5 to 2 years of total newspapers, extracting these keywords from those newspapers and put it for you so that you can readily use it in the exam. You may not replicate the same, but over a period of time, when you keep on writing these things, memorizing these things, the flow will come naturally to you, right? So going further, keywords will be there. Okay, keywords related to agriculture and agri-climate, whatever the topics that you pick up, you will have, right? The next phase of the content in which that we give you is the best case studies. Okay, so the case studies, and imagine if suppose this is the topic, let's say agrarian crisis is the topic, the need for doubling the farmers income is the topic. On this topic you will have the content, right? So you're also given another handout in which the micro topic listing is there. Agrarian crisis is a topic. For this, proper content will be there. You need not run pillar to post to gather this content, that content. Okay, that Telegram channel, this Telegram channel. Most of you want to ekatta all those GBs of content with you. No, it's a one-stop solution so that you need not move out anywhere, right? Even the content and content related diagrams like that, what you can put in the exam directly, flowcharts. So come to the next topic. Let's say you went for the next topic. Let me show you. Is loan waiver a panacea for the agrarian crisis? So this is regarding the credit. So in manner, you will have content related to the entire agriculture in a single go. And chalo, content problem is resolved now. Enrichment problem is resolved. Value addition problem is resolved. Previous year question problem is resolved. But you will have the problem of previous year questions, answers, model answers. So we thought of resolving this problem also. That is the reason why we made toppers to write what they are going to write in the 7 minutes. Topper matlab aisa waisa topper nahi hai. Someone who scored the highest marks in this particular paper, agriculture related. So as on date, she is the candidate who scored one of the highest marks in GS paper 3. She is Roma Barna. Okay, IFS. In her own handwriting, in the given 7.5 minutes of time, she has written this for you. The previous year questions. Look here. Model answers. So that means if you're reading agriculture, all you need to do is just make sure to put a better answer as compared to her. Look at this question. This is the answer that she has written. If the topper of this particular topic or this particular paper, if they themselves are writing this, that means don't you think this is the highest mark that they have put, or this is the best form of content that they have represented as compared to the other peers, right? So this is handwritten, and how to use the micro diagrams, how to bring in those points at one single place. This is the reference point so that the model answers, whatever you look out for. The general complaint that the student have is that, sir, when you are giving the test series, in the test series, the problem is that, sir, answer we are supposed to write in 200 to 250 words, but you give a model answer of more than 500,000 words. How are we supposed to extract? So you will anyways get a model answer in the text format with 500 words. Along with that, an ideal form of writing answer will be given to you, so that the core problem will be resolved of many students, right? Now let's come to the basics of answer writing. Okay, I hope you got this. Now imagine that this is for agriculture. If you are going to get, these are the topics of agriculture which are roughly asked for 60 marks in the last 5 years. Now imagine the next topics, taxation in India, okay? Along with that, physical infrastructure, health, education, employment, and so on. If you are able to do these for the next 30 to 40 themes that we have identified are important for the examination, don't you think you'll be comparatively in a better position than all. 100%. But it's not an easy task. It's not that easy, as I said. It takes an immense hard work from your side and immense hard work from my side also. Because first, to get you this content, it takes almost hours of research, not from me, my content team and including me. Everything is done under the guidance of me and Atik sir. So in totality, this is a schedule which is given to you as well. Now, another problem is that writing of the previous year questions. Everyone will ask you to write previous year questions. So we made sure that one, let's say that you are studying agriculture, we are teaching agriculture. The very next day, you'll have a test on agriculture previous year questions only of the previous year questions of agriculture, which model answers are already given to you for majority of them. For the last 5 years, model answers will give you so that you will have an understanding of that. Rest of the model answers you'll get in the PDF format. So write that test without fail. That means a total of how many tests? Look, a total of, you will be writing daily previous year questions tests of 30 tests you will be writing. 30 tests of PYQs. Okay. How many? Some topics may have only 7 questions. Some topics might have 10 questions, right? So based on the weightage, the test will be there. Roughly around 7 to 10 questions will be there in each test that you are supposed to write every day after the completion of the topic. Let's say that today we have completed the geography's urbanization, then you are going to write the same test later, right? So apart from that, again, you will have the problem of sectional tests also. You want to write sectional tests because content, you're reading content, you're enriching the content, you're learning to put that, you're putting in the previous year question test. You also need to write that full length 3-hour test. That full length 3-hour test, we have divided in such a way that, let's say, mixing of 3 or 4 themes, let's say urbanization is there, climate change is there, disaster management is there. If I mix these 3 themes, and then you'll have a 3-hour test. Okay? So like that, a weekly test on every 4th or 5th day, you will be writing some test. Your schedule for the next almost roughly 90 days is going to be very extremely tight, right? So on one side, you're supposed to do GS, on one side, you're supposed to do optional. Irrespective of your result, I'm telling you, you have to sit and prepare. If you think you want a break, you want to go out for a trek, you want to come back. So you do all of these things after the months of September. Why? Because this is the time for mains. As if, however, you write mains or you don't write mains. You're going to write mains on August 20th, either you sitting in the room or in the examination hall of UPSC. Okay? And submit those papers to us. You'll get to know at what rate are you, at what place are you standing. Okay? Then it is quite clear for you. It will be quite clear for you next year how to go ahead if you're not clearing prelims. If you're clearing, this is the end game for you to get into the list. Right? I hope I'm clear here. So previous year questions will be there, content will be there, test series is there, teaching is there, and also micrographs and micro diagrams presentation is also there, practice sheets are also there, and don't run from here to there. One-stop solution is this, right? Next, at the end, you will have 2 cycles of full length tests. GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4. Okay, same like your exam, like the way you have written prelims in the open school, right? Like that, you will also have open centers. You'll go to the government schools and you'll write where one test in the morning, 1 test in the afternoon, again, 1 day, 1 test in the morning and afternoon. Like that, 2 cycles are there for you. You have to complete these cycles. So all in all, roughly around 40 odd days from now, 40 odd days, this content enrichment, and from there tests. And so roughly 90 days we are packed up, right? Make up your mind to come with so much of energy every day, right? We'll be grabbing so much of content, recalling. The recalling part I'll do. Don't worry. In the class itself, you'll have these numbers and figures. Everything will be there. Now, who is going to take this? Me, Atik sir, Pankaj sir, who is flying from Gujarat, he'll be here for the rest of the time. And you'll also have Veer Pratap sir, who will be coming from Delhi. He'll be teaching you history, right? Few themes will be taught by me. Few themes will be taught by Atik sir. And for mentorship, you will have Avinash sir. You will also have Varun sir, who you will see very soon, and Satish sir and Anirudh sir. Plus for evaluation, any doubts that you have, if you want a live evaluation, you can sit along with Sandhya ma'am. She will do live evaluation with you. Let's say you bring the paper, you can sit with ma'am and ma'am will correct in front of you, right? And we'll also do live answer writing in the class. That means I will write along with you for some, you write, I'll give the time in the class after explaining the topic, right? So these are some of the aspects that are there. Now let's say this is an enrichment program or enhancement program, right? We call this as mains score maximizer. There is another program. It is based on your convenience. That is, it's a daily answer writing. Daily answer writing program. And under this program, 63 days of everyday answer writing will be there. This is not for you who you are sitting in the classrooms. It is for those candidates who are not part of our organization and would like to write daily answers every day, right? So every day, 5 questions you will be writing. And model answers will be there, the test will be discussed, right? And at end of every week, you'll write a sectional test. That sectional test is evaluated and the test is discussed in detail. Likewise, the entire syllabus will be covered in 63 days for the mains examination, right? So this is also an alternate program that is there. We call this as the 63-day answer writing program, which is mains daily answer writing program is there. So for those of you who are here, who are into PCM, there were concerns that sir, governance hua nahi hai pura. Right? Governance is a theme. Disaster management is there. Disaster management is a theme. World history is there. It's a theme, right? Health, education, employment, these are all themes. You need not spend hours together in doing it. So what you are supposed to do is you study it as a theme, learn it, the basic content which you already know, you have learned in polity. It's just that you need to apply that in the main examination, right? So if you look into the schedules, the schedule is very detailed schedule is given to you in this. Here, good governance is also there. That governance will be completed here, right? Disaster management is there. Just a minute. 20? No. Right? This is disaster management, which we shall cover up. Because disaster management, it needs to be covered up from the IR angle. See here, these disaster management questions are also asked in geography, governance, IR, economy, environment, and disaster management. It is not just only disaster management is not just the management of the disaster anymore. It is also international relations linkage is there. It is also the finance funds are also asked, right? So frameworks that are there that we need to look into in detail. So disaster management, one single booklet, whatever we give, that is more than sufficient, right? Another alternative that you want to read is a handbook which is given to the district magistrates. Even if you open that, you need to know the Sendai framework, right? The latest framework that is there. Apart from that, how is disaster different from the vulnerability index you need to know, right? How is the vulnerability different from the impact? Some of the basic aspects that are there that you need to know, right? So we'll cover up there also. Now coming to the next, before I go any further, let us introduce the team also. Let me call the team, just a minute. Yes. So many people who are watching online. Yes. All of you know Atik sir, right? Sir himself has written mains and he has given interviews multiple number of times. Atik sir will teach themes related to paper 3 economics, taxation, and also most of the paper 3 economics related content. Avinash sir, he himself have written 6 mains, never failed prelims. Sir will be taking up mentorship sessions for you. Let's say if you have any doubts, any problem that you have in addressing a question, he is always there to address all of those. Now we have Satish sir, Dr. Satish and Anirudh sir. They'll be mentors for you in any part of the topic. If you have doubt, you can come and your doubts will be addressed by them. Atik, Satish sir and Anirudh sir, both of them, they'll be also playing a major role in the daily mains answer writing program because the test discussions will also be done by Satish sir. Most of you know about Satish sir. He's Dr. Satish. He has done his PhD from Korea, right? Yes. So Anirudh sir, I don't think he need any introduction, right? So he'll also be playing a role of the mentor. Apart from that, you'll also have Sanya ma'am. Sanya ma'am will be taking care of the evaluation department. So please make sure if you have any doubts, don't just directly come and reach out to me. There is a team, right? This team will take care. Now that our classes are also going to be conducted in the same building in the next 5 days, right? At the pillar number 37. So any doubt, we are just 1 floor above and 1 floor down. If you have any doubts, you can always come and get in touch with us, right? So it is a kind of hand-holding program for you, for all of you. Even if you clear prelims, you don't clear prelims. Imagine that you're going to write mains on August 20th. And for those of you who are going to clear prelims, you'll have that extra support from us, hand-holding way. Both the evaluations will also be done by the same team. It is not outsourced to some others. It is a full team that is going to work together, right? Make sure to utilize this available resources to the fullest potential that you have, right? We don't hesitate even replying to you during this time because this is a very crucial time for the next 70 to 80 days, even at late nights also. Make sure to be part of this program and any doubts you can reach out, right? So I think now you know the team also. Yes, thank you, sir. Continuing the class, here I have to address one more thing. I've told that I'll be talking about what is the appropriate way to write a mains answer. See, many of you are writing their mains for the first time. You generally write answers in the A4 sheet, right? This is your A4 sheet. This is your UPSC paper. This is how your QCAB comes. If I put this A4 sheet and the QCAB, this is your original paper. Whose length is more? A4. The general problem with the answer writing when you go into the mains where 1 or 2 marks are very important is that this size of the paper is more in terms of its length. Its length is small, right? When it comes to width, this width is hardly 0.5, 0.6 centimeters width less will be there in the UPSC paper. So most of you write test series on this, right? So when you open this paper and start to write, you generally face these problems. If suppose this is your A4 sheet and you have margins on both the sides, right? In your A4 sheet, if you start to write from here, you are actually spending more time in writing this and you are utilizing more space. Make sure if you're writing on the A4 sheet which is available in the open markets, or else the QCABs that we give is exactly of the same size of the UPSC. Now, if you're writing on the A4 sheet, what I would recommend is, if this is your A4 sheet, on the A4 sheet, what you do is, you leave this area. Don't write anything. You always start from here. Right? Because the UPSC QCAB will be like this. Just a minute. Look at this QCAB. QCAB is question come answer booklet. Do you have a margin on the top? No. Right? It is readily available on the UPSC's mains website itself, main website. So I'll go to the next page. Do you have a margin? No. And look at the size. It is smaller as compared to the A4 sheet. So mostly you'll write this on the A4 sheet, and when you go to the examination for the first timers, whoever are going to write, you'll have that dissonance for the first 30 minutes. Because these are small things, no one tells you. Why? Because only when you face this in the examination hall, the difference will be there. It will impact some 5 to 10 marks of your paper, maybe 5 to 6 marks easily, because you are used to write in this. And make sure some of the fundamental key parameters you are supposed to remember. Number 1, do not write sentences more than 30 words, 35 words. Number 1, always when you're drawing a diagram, make sure to draw it in a box. Okay? Mostly diagram should be drawn on the right side of the margins. So you might have also seen this UPSC's basic things. Specimen copy, common mistakes which UPSC usually give it on its website. Let me show it to you also before you start to write answers. See here, most of the students are not aware of how many pages are given. Also, many students I'm telling about. 10 marker, you'll get 2 pages. 15 marker, you get 3 pages. Don't get surprised in the in this particular mains, 2026 mains, if there is a question of 12.5 marks if it is added. Don't get surprised, because you have already seen a surprise in the prelims. So that kind of papers used to be there in 2015-16. So in 2014 mains, there used to be 12.5 markers. How many questions? 25. Today you have 10, 15 markers and 10 markers, together 250 marks. So there was a time where there used to be 12.5 markers and 25 questions used to be there, right? And you are asked to write in 200 words, right? Now 200 into 25, how much? 200 into 25, roughly 5,000 words. Now imagine if such a kind of paper is there, you are supposed to write 5,000 words in 3 hours. Is it possible? So most of the candidates who wrote GS paper 1 in that year, they could not complete the paper because 25 questions are there. They came to 2021 and they got exhausted because they're writing in 200 words. 5,000 words is not that easy to be written. Now today you look in this kind of format of a paper, 10 into 15 marks, so 150 words each. 150 into 10 is 1500. Sorry, this is 250 words, right? 250 into 10, 2500, plus 10 into 150, 1500. Roughly 4,000 words you are asked to write. In this kind of a paper, it is 5,000 words. So make sure to be smart enough to understand, is this paper lengthy or not before you're going to write the mains exam. Even those candidates who are going to write this year's prelims exam, when Nikhil was there, when I was telling, I told first thing that you go into the examination and you have to check is the weight of the paper, right? If the weight of the paper is more, this paper is lengthy. And then if the paper is lengthy, cutoff will be 4 or 5 marks it will come down, right? So earlier it used to be 19 pages, now it came out to be 26 pages. So lengthy papers, these kind of papers, make sure to assess. Don't do that mistakes in the paper 1. So that's why you'll also have surprising elements. Sometimes we'll add 12.5 markers, also 200 words. When it comes to essay, 12 pages will be given to you. See, there was a time where only one essay was asked to write. There was a time, now two essays came up, right? It depends. UPSC can also bring in surprises for you. You should never be surprised by those surprises. 20 marks in ethics, you'll get 4 pages. 4 pages means one side of the page, second side of the page, third side of the page, and fourth side of the page. For case studies and 20 markers in the optional, this is what you'll get. 15 markers, 3 pages, 10 marker, 2 pages. Right? Next. These are some of the fundamental parameters which I've given to you in the form of print also. So this is 16 odd centimeters. You take out the borders, you'll get 14.5 centimeters. That means your life is going to be within the domains of this 14.5 centimeters, right? Roughly, the width of these UPSC QCAB is around 8.5 inches to 8.25 inches, right? So in this 10 markers, don't write 150 words, 130 to 150 also is fine, right? If you're drawing diagrams and micro diagrams, 20 markers, you can go up to 210 to 230 words. Then comes your 12.5, you can go up to 180 words and a micro diagram, or 160, 170 words and a micro diagram. Numbering must be visible in your paper. Okay? Do not write numbers outside the margin. Have you heard of penalty marks in mains? How many of you have heard? Ever seen the scorecards of those penalty marks? So one of them was our student itself, this 25 marks candidate. I don't want to name, she's an IAS already, right? So can you see this? Why penalty? Not just writing outside the margins. Word limit is also there. So UPSC gave a very big list. Writing Om Sai Ram on the paper. Okay? Oh God, you're not supposed to do those things. First, I'll talk about this penalty marks and the key parameters that UPSC wants you to understand. Just a minute. First thing, quickly, not much important, but so once for all, I wanted to show you. See, irrelevant matters written in the QCAB. Question come, answer booklet. From now on, you will call this as QCAB only, right? If you're writing a number, irrelevant. Symbol, not to be done, right? Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Nana, right? Then putting something outside on the paper, not required. Even if you put a dot, I'm telling you, even if you put 2 dots, tab bhi wo consider karte. These are a kind of signs that you're giving the examiner signal that is what UPSC understands. Not just this, even in any paper you are going to write. UPSC website, all these things are there. I've taken from there itself. Writing anything. Next is writing irrelevant matters outside the margins. So if this is your paper, you should not write anything on this side of the margin and this side of the margin, be it numberings or time, anything. You should not write. Next, on the right side also, you're not supposed to write. Writing the names, anything on the QCAB, especially on the page 1. Even if you're striking also, remember you will be penalized. This will go through a lot of hard scrutiny. Next, look here. This is the scoring paper. See, when you open your mains in the mains examination, a detachable question paper will be there. If suppose this is a paper, at the end you'll have a question paper, you have to detach. It will be like this. This is a QCAB, and you'll have a detachable thing. You'll detach. And then you're supposed to write this. In here itself, you'll have all the questions printed, right? So these are the marks where you'll be given marks and comments. You should not write anything there. Next, writing a letter to the examiner. This is my last attempt. I have this problem. I have that problem. No. Many students do it. Any kind of letter is not entertained. And students have this doubt. So can I mix languages? No. Can I use pencil and pen? No. Can I use black pen and blue pen? No. You're supposed to write your entire exam with one pen. I'm not telling this. UPSC is telling this. See here. English and Hindi do not mix. Maybe a keywords that you are writing, you write that keywords there. So look at this. Answering partly in ink and partly in pencil. You are not supposed to do this. Okay? So diagrams you think that you wanted to do in the pencil? No. I would not recommend that. Use only either black or blue, right? If your writing is teda here, there, put some heavy weight on the pen backside, it will settle, right? If your writing is too thick, again, put a medium size weight on the backside of the pen, it will settle. There are some techniques. I'll recommend pens also, what pens to be used. Likewise, requesting any request not accepted. Also, illegible handwriting. So many students have this doubt, no, sir, my handwriting is not good. So is this sufficient or is this not sufficient? Your handwriting should be legible. What do you mean by legible? The other person should be in a position to read. So UPSC do not entertain doctor's handwriting, right? Can you understand anything in this? No. So that's why legible writing plus. If you think that space is not sufficient and you're striking the question, you're out of the race. Okay? Drawing a symbol, not acceptable. If you want to cancel something, if you want to strike down something, what you're supposed to do? How will you cancel? Just by slashing, it is not sufficient. You're supposed to write cancelled. This is how you're supposed to cancel a content that you don't strike every line. Okay? It is also a kind of signal that you're giving. So UPSC considers like that. Symbols also you should not write. Not in any pages, you will be penalized, right? The correct way of doing is, see, this is a QCAB. We'll also give you everything. I don't want to give this information for every exam, so that's why I'm doing it here. If I'm giving the QCAB, you'll write just these details. And this is the correctly filled QCAB. Right? You'll write your roll number, your name, and this. Nothing else you will write in the QCABs. Like in your prelims, bubbling and all, here nothing of that sort. So if you want to cancel, your cancellation should be done like this. You'll do such kind of practices in the mock test also. Right? Next, coming to different types of introductions. How many different types of introductions are there? See, broadly 8 different types of introductions will be there. An introduction can be based on definition, but definition is an old style of introducing. So what do I do is, I'll first show you what are the different types of introductions and how they can be written. What we will do is, we'll pick up a particular question, and for that question, we'll write 8 different types of introductions. And later I'll show you what is a good introduction and what is a bad introduction also. Before that, first, let me show you some of the good introductions and some of the bad introductions. Look at this. This is a bad introduction. Why is it bad? Irrelevant and unrelated introductions. If question is asked on something and you're writing on something, look at that. The persistence of border disputes in Northeast India have vitiated interstate relations and jeopardized the security situations in the region. Comment. Northeast region is the part of the nation where diversity itself is diverse, right? However, this diversity has led to some border disputes too. Okay? Yeah, very bad introduction. Now, what is a good introduction? Read this. The Assam-Mizoram border recently witnessed cross-firing between the police forces of both the states, which once again brought to the forefront the issues of border disputes in the Northeast India. Right? You can write better examples than this. Same question, but now look at the next. This is a bad introduction. What are the issues relating to the Office of Profit? Critically analyze its significance and misuse. Office of Profit is an executive part with powers and remuneration. But a good introduction is, an Office of Profit means a position that brings to the person holding it some financial gain or advantage or other benefits. The Constitution, Article 102(1) and 119(1) restricts the member of Parliament and member of Assembly from holding Office of Profit. This is called as substantiation of introduction. This is a very bad introduction. What are the impediments in supply side management of the Indian agriculture? Suggest innovative solutions to improve supply side management in India. Agriculture sector is the backbone of Indian economy. It serves as a primary source of livelihood for about 58% of India's population with 68% of employment. Why is it bad? Not because of the language, but because of your overconfidence and you fake in the exam. Never fake in the introduction. They are very smart to grab, right? They are seeing 13,000 same questions. If you are writing in factual content, someone else would have written a factual content. So your paper would be put aside and other papers will be taken. If all the people are writing the same introductions with some same data and your fact is incorrect. Got it? Don't think you're smart. Okay? Reports wise, sometimes you can. Given by UN, given by UNCD, something you can write reports, reference. But data, incorrect data, I'm telling you the logic, why this incorrect data will get you caught. Not because the examiner will know it, the examiner will learn while evaluating it. Got it? So only Nikhil wrote 68, rest of you wrote 55. Examiner Nikhil का पेपर देखेगा ना, बोलेगा इसका 68 कैसे आया? Then he'll doubt all the content of his paper, right? With dual intentions, they'll check. So that's why one factual error in the introductions, you're out of the race. Next, the same thing, factually corrected info. While the food grain production in India has reached record levels of 315 metric tons, it has not transitioned into the increased farmers' remuneration. Hence, reformative steps are significant. So like that, factually correct content need to be there. Unnecessary explanation you should not give in the introduction, not more than 30 words. I'm telling you, 40 words is the maximum. Uske baad, the first sentence what I've read until the last sentence while I come, I'll forget what I've read. 30 words is the ideal words for your intro, max 30 to 35, max. Crisp to the point intro. See, millets have the potential to address malnutrition as well as promote sustainable agriculture in India. Discuss. India is world's largest producer, 55% of the millets, a climate resilient superfood that can address the twin challenges of malnutrition. 45% of the children are malnourished, and unsustainable agricultural practices India adopted after second green revolution. See, this introduction seems good. The map is good. You need not directly draw map as an introduction. Not good. Okay? A good introduction is something you write in less than 15, 20, 30 words and a micro diagram, and you flow the micro diagram. This is a good introduction, right? So I'll show you a question. Look at this. Examine the pattern and trend of public expenditure on social service in the post-reforms period in India. To what extent this has been in consonance with achieving the objectives of inclusive growth? If this is a question, I know most of you did not understand the question itself in the first reading, but let me tell you what this question is trying to ask. The question, it is asking you, whatever the expenditure that we have put, which is got from the public in the form of taxes, whatever the money that we receive, all this expenditure we have invested on XYZ programs in India. Now that spending, did it align with the inclusive growth objectives or not? This is the question, right? So the question again, it says that, let me repeat it, whatever the spendings that you have done from 1992 till date, are these spendings in consonance with the objectives of inclusive growth or not? That you are supposed to check, right? Now under this question, see, this is part one of the question. Okay? This is part one of the question. And this is part two of the question. Whenever two parts are there in the questions, make sure you go for historical introductions. That always rewards you best, or else go for comparative introductions. Comparative introductions are nothing but, it's like this: the success of a nation is ultimately measured by the welfare of the poor people. I'm comparing this. See, the success of a nation is ultimately measured by the welfare of the poor people. That means I'm comparing, no, the success of a nation is with the poor people. This is called as comparative. Or else I can draw through constitution also an introduction. Look at this. This is written by Roma. Indian constitution envisions a welfare state under Article 38, which is reflected in public expenditure on social services. She has given an article relevance that Article 38 talks about the welfare concept. You can also talk about the Article 39 also. Article 38, 39, because 39 also talks about welfare concepts and so. So this is an introduction. Then what she did, she said, sir, 2000 to 2010, 1990 to 2000, 2010 to present time period, she has the content in her mind. Right? This is the content that she has in the mind. She has divided what are the spendings that are done from 1990 to 2000, 2000 to 2010, 2010 to current. Now you are supposed to link up this with inclusive growth. Look at this. This is examine. Examine means what? You have to just check whether it is correct or wrong. I'll say 1990 to 2000, much of the India was going through crisis time period. So this is called as Hindu growth period. You might have heard Hindu growth rate. What is that? Very low growth rate. Next, this was also the time period where foreign funds started to flow to India. LPG reforms, we opened up. Any major programs that you are aware of? Facilitating the private sector, opening up of the economy. 2000 to 2010, any significant programs that India got for the welfare of the poor people? Manrega, very good. 2006. Next, right to information. But right to information is an enabler for inclusive growth, not directly. Right to education, very good. Next, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, under that. Next, what else? Making a fundamental right, agreed. More points. I want you to generate more points. 2010 onwards, Food Security Act, right? Next, Fasal Bima Yojana, very good. Next, Jandan. Make in India, how is it an inclusive growth? Jandan, see, basically, Jam Trinity, Jandan Aadhaar Mobile, with that 50 plus crore population were included in the financial sector, so that now earlier they used to get money from the government in the form of subsidies, or their direct benefit transfers were not direct. It was routed through the middleman in the village, who is Sarpanch or someone. Right? Now directly you are getting, right? Other welfare programs, Pradhana Mantri Matru Shayog Yojana, institutional delivery, Matru Vandana Yojana, other names are there. Now think of welfare, disability, any schemes? Any schemes of disability? Inclusive growth means what? You should always remember, inclusive growth means inclusive growth. SC community, disabled, poor, women. Suppose if I'm bringing a program or any expenditure, is it reaching them? You have to check, right? Now think of any women related schemes. Self-help groups, very good, right? SHG strengthening, Dwakra Mahila, you might have heard in our schemes, right? Mudra loans were given to who? Next. Planning commissioners transformed to Niti Aayog, theek hai. But how is that related to this inclusive growth? You have to tell that. Tell that. But it is asking about expenditure. Make sure public expenditure. whatever the money that is spent by the government, did it reach to the inclusive growth in the form of this poor SC, ST woman or not? Right? Now, in this, firstly, you need to talk about, this is one way of writing. Now, let me show you how Roma wrote in 7 minutes of time. See, she gave an introduction which is not more than 30 words, and she talked about welfare. You can also talk about direct definitions. Now, only introduction, I'll show it to you. First, how many different types of introductions can be written? Look at this. Same question. This is an introduction which I will be writing, if at all I have to write. The 1991 reforms accelerated economic growth, India's economic growth. But persistent disparities in health, education, and social outcomes highlighted the need for greater public investment in social services to make growth more inclusive. This is 34 words. Isn't it a little more impactful? I'm using keywords from the same question, right? Now, let's check one by one. Definition-based introduction. You have to define public expenditure and you have to define inclusive growth. Public expenditure on social services encompasses government spendings on health, education, nutrition, housing, and welfare, aimed at enhancing human capitals and ensuring that economic growth translates into broad-based social development. So this kind of language is nothing but definition of both inclusive growth and expenditure. This is definition based. Go to current affairs based. और ये सब चैट जीपीटी से जनरेट नहीं किया ना, ये सब जो last 2 years से whoever have written, those papers we have converted into the text, right? Different people write different kinds of answers. These are those introductions. So the union budgets, not just budget, union budgets, continued emphasis on health, education, skilling, and social protection reflects India's recognition that sustained economic growth must be accompanied by greater investments in human development. So this is current affairs based. It is saying that union budgets have invested in this. Likewise, fact, you can also bring in some fact, historical, quote based, contextual also. You can talk about COVID-19. सबसे ज़्यादा impact कौन हुआ था? Right? Poor people. For that, inclusive growth was required. So what was the program that we got in? We extended an extensive support to the poor, PDS system, Antyodaya Yojana. So you can talk about that. Likewise, contrast based. Despite achieving the food security, still the people are poor. You can talk like that. That means the development in India is a paradox. You can talk like that. So conceptual introduction, whatever. Now come back and check the main question. See here. Look at her answer. A graph which shows what happened in 1990-91 to 22-21, percentage of GDP, it is 5.49. This is 8.3. This is the growth rate when you take the average growth rate. So the growth rate was low, the growth rate was high. Next, look at this, patterns and trends in public expenditure in social service. This is a heading, pattern and trends of public expenditure on social service. I would always recommend take subheadings from the question directly. Okay? Don't try to innovate much. The easiest way for the examiner is he'll look into the question and or he or she will look into the subheadings. So first recommendation is always take from the subheading, from the question itself. So this is the subheading that she has put, and later 1990s to early 2000s, the spendings on health and in education. See, education 3% and health is 1% of the GDP. Right? Spendings on health, spendings on education, are they of inclusive in nature? Yes? Yes or no? Spendings on industries, is it inclusive? May or may not be, but definitely spendings on public health and education, fact is given. Second, she came to the 2000 to 2009. New schemes such as Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which is nothing but the right to education, Manrega. You can also write RTI, which enabled the information access associated to inclusive growth or public spendings. Yes, we can write that. Next, 2010 onwards, the approach has changed to right-based approach. You can also write Food Security Act here, right? Pradhan Mantri Matrutva Sahayog Yojana, right? Likewise, any disabled scheme that you know, you write it. Okay. So did I address the first part? Then go to the second part of the question. What is the second part of the question? Consonance with inclusive growth. Come here. What is the heading? In consonance with achieving the objectives of inclusive growth. So look at the heading. Consonance with inclusive growth. Taken same heading from the question, subheading. Now look, how many points? Rapid growth and poverty reduction has come. Because of this investment, she's saying that rapid growth has been there. How? She says 2005 to 2021, a UN report said that 415 million people are lifted out of poverty. That means this expenditure only lifted them out of the poverty. Next, financial inclusions, Jandan Khata, right? Zero budget accounts, maximum of 30,000 deposit can be done. Beyond that, it cannot be done. You know about these accounts? 53 crore bank accounts have been opened. That means what? Isn't this has led to the financial inclusion of the poor? That is why we are able to do Jandan, Aadhaar, and Mobile Trinity, Jam Trinity. Likewise, education accessibility is there through what? How? Increase in the gross enrollment ratio of the girl child at the secondary level, not at the primary level. Primary means 6 to 14. After 14 years, the increase in the enrollment of the girl child happened. She also wrote that. Next, improved health indicators. You can write IMR data, MMR data. ये तो रटना ही है आपको. Then comes challenges, which are not asked in the question, but she wrote. Right? You can write the challenges if required, if you have the time and space. Now come to the conclusion. Implementing Social Sector Code 2020, right? Investment in social infrastructure can help achieve the goal of the Viksit Bharat 2075. Now, how many marks will you give to this answer? You can write better answers. I'm not saying that this is the best answer, but this is the best answer that got the best score. Writing in 7 minutes is not that easy. Okay. I myself have tried, not now in 2024. These are the same questions which we simulated, right? So look at this. What does a good answer have? A good answer has, she did not underline, but this is how a box need to be put. A micro graph subheading and then a macro point which has examples. Next point, every point has examples. If this is a point, it has examples, right? Data, example. Again, this is just an information. So here onwards, if you broadly look into, there are some things that are common. A good answer is something, an introduction not more than 30 plus words. Okay? Not more than 30 words. A conclusion which is not more than 30 words. And it 30, 30, 60 ho gaya. Baki 110 words are left for. In one single page, not more than 75 words. In one single page, not more than 75 words. Try to address the question by hitting the bullseye. right? So in totality, intro, conclusion. Earlier, there used to be introduction, body, conclusion. Are these answers any more like this? No. Introduction, conclusions are still there. Then you have micrographs, points, data, substantiation, reports, microdiagrams, right? Flows. So this is the new age answer writing since 2024. So these answers, if they are out, they will rise the bar of the examination. You guys will write now. Let's say that another by next month or so there will be full of the classroom. You guys will start to write. Your friends will see in the library. "Acha, ye aisa likh raha hai." Then that will slowly spread out. Next year, whoever is going to write, much of this will penetrate into the market. So the bar of the examination is going to rise every year. Likewise, now what I want you to do is write this answer. I'll give you 7 minutes. Content तो पता है आपको? Open your page, pen and paper. You can directly start writing the answer. I'll give you 7 minutes. It is 3:58, 4:05. Start. Directly write the answer. Online you can also share it. Write, everyone write. Same question. Online, you can also write and share this onto this contact number. Seven minutes. Need not write the question directly. You can write the answer, right? Four more minutes. ऑनलाइन वाले नो चैट जीपीटी, ठीक है। One minute last. Last 1 minute. Okay, stop. Stop. Now exchange your papers. Exchange. Check your paper. Now give marks based on this. If they have written a good introduction, okay? See, only the way I tell you have to give this marks, huh? Right? No other way. If they have written a very good introduction, so give them 1.5 to them, or 1 mark. If they have written a very good introduction, give 1 mark here. If not, give them, if the introduction is bad, 0. Next, if there is a micro diagram and a heading, if suppose they have written, see, if they have written in sentences which are more than 30-40 words, okay, strike those off. You will not get good marks. You can do such kind of activity in the optional, not in the GS, because based on my evaluations and experiences of the last 10 years, if I look back, the toppers, whoever are writing, this is how they are writing. A sentence not more than 30 words. If you're writing as a paragraph which is more than 40 words, no, completely strike them off, no marks to you. Next, if you have drawn a micro diagram, a subheading and points with data, for every 3 points you give 1.5 mark, half of mark for each point, half mark for each point. Next, if they have written the second part of the answer, if they have also written in parts, give them half mark for each point if it has data and substantiation. And for conclusion and pre-conclusion, half mark and half mark. Now tell me how much score you guys got. Yes. So how much you'll get for this answer? 5 marks. Right? So this is the answer which get 5 marks out of 10, not 6, 5. How I classified? Your introductions will have 20% of the marks. Okay? Conclusion 20% of the marks. 40% goes here. Rest of the 60% goes to your body with microdiagrams, points, and substantiations, data, and to the point answering. So how many of you of the evaluation that you got is more than 3 marks? Anyone got 3 marks? Did you give 3 marks to any of the evaluation? No? 2.5? 3 marks? 1. Okay. 1. Okay. 3. 3. 2.5? 2.5. 2 people are there. Anyone 5? 5 marks? 4 marks? 5? Okay. See, this is how the tight evaluation will be there. In the classroom itself, only half of mark variation is there. Imagine 13,000 candidates are writing the same question. So that half of mark, that means roughly students will have somewhere ranging between 4 and 5 and 5 and 6 marks only. The best will be given another half mark. Maybe she would have written little more schemes, little more things, right? So this is how evaluation will be done, right? So in the further classes, I'll talk about how to write conclusions. I'll talk about how to write body. Going further, in the 40 odd classes that we are going to have in the next 90 odd days, your answer writing from today will be elevated to the next level. That is what a minimum guarantee that I can give you. Now, coming back to the fundamental aspects. See, how many papers struggle to write an introduction here? Does your evaluation, whatever you evaluated, this paper struggle to write intro? Yes? How many? Just raise. Whatever you have evaluated, does that paper struggle? Did that paper struggle to write intro? Just raise your hand. Rest of the introductions are good? Then raise. Okay. How many papers used data? Did your paper used data? Substantiations, reference to reports, microdiagrams? No. So if you are not able to grab the content even after this explanation, the solution for you is not directly jumping into the content but learning the summarization. What you are supposed to do is you first have to learn to summarize an article. The best way to learn an answer writing is not directly going and jumping and writing. The best way is first you have to learn summary. Summary of what? Summary of all these topics. Let's say, for those of you who are having this problem only, you come to me, I'll mentor you at a personal level how to resolve this writings. Look here. Just a minute. Look here. This is a summary article. Okay? For example, health sector in India. I'll give you the last 1 year's health sector articles. Not all, 2 articles or 1 article, which is considered to be the best current affairs article on health sector. All you need to do is, the content will also be given to you. Just a minute. Should be. Okay. See, the content will be given to you. All you need to do is just read that content, put it aside. Simply, whatever you know, just put that in one single page. Let's say I'll give you a current affairs article, which is editorial or a beautiful article of health sector in India. You read that health sector, take 10 to 15 minutes of time, put that aside completely, and then start to write the content of health sector. ठीक है, whatever way you wanted to write, you write. ठीक है. Next, in the second phase, health you have written. Now what you do is you write it for the second time. Now this time you're not just supposed to write in the form of content. This time you're supposed to represent on the pictographic type. Right? Health, maybe you're drawing something, you wanted to bring in some kind of diagrams. Here you wanted to build the health sector has risen with respect to contributions, you wanted to use a diagram, you use. Right? Same content, now you have drawn in a different way. Right? Maybe the health sector in India has changed like this. So you want to bring in anything, I'm okay with that. So first thing, whoever is struggling to write answers, for them this is the solution. This solution is called as summary solution. In a summary solutions, article I'll give you, you write for the health. You're done with health, that means you'll remember the basic data of that. Next, like that, education sector, again articles on the education. Then population in India, employment, agriculture, like that I'll give you 50 topics. Every day one topic you are supposed to write. Down the line, 30th day, you will write better. Trust me, you'll write better. After, let's say that you have completed this 50 articles even before the time limit that I gave you, the second time I'll ask you to write again every day. What? So this is 17, right? Let us go to the second cycle. In the second cycle, what do we do? Again, I'll give you the same booklet. Now here you are supposed to write in a different way. Data presentations with micro diagrams and so on. Value adding your content. So you just need to revise that book. Only that book, nothing much. Because in the mains examination, no matter whatever the question is asked, the basic and raw content that you have learned, that will be remembered. Okay? So that's why this is the best starter exercise for someone who is struggling to write an answer. Clear? So this is summarizing answers, summary solutions, if at all you are having problem. And then if you do not want the content, but you want just the test series to be written, that is 63-day program, and you want the content also, enrichment also, test series also, MSM, that is main score maximizer. For the PCM candidates, you're all most welcome to avail this access. Okay? Rest of you, please go and meet the team. They'll help you with the enrollments. Right? No matter what, down the line, 60 to 80 days from now on, you will be writing one of the finest answers. And for those who are giving mains this year directly, this is a one-stop solution for you to write the test series and the enhanced content. So be prepared. Our next class will start with content. Okay? Pure content it is. We'll start with agriculture. I'll take it. We'll have a test also later on. We'll start from 5th of June. Okay? 5th June onwards, regular classes will be there. Everyday classes will be there. We'll follow the schedule that it has been given to you, and you'll also receive the material for each topic. This is a one-stop solution. Even for next year also, the data won't change much. Small changes you can keep on updating even if you're writing next year. Right? Thank you, and we'll meet on 5th of June. Right? 4 days time is there. Meanwhile, if you want to start the summarization program, you can come and consult the team, or you can come to my cabins also. I'll help you with how to start writing the answer. See you. Thank you. Online.